Good morning. Good morning,
Good
Rob.
morning. Good to see you.
Right. Good morning, everybody. I'm delighted to be here. This is really exciting. I'm getting to talk to one of the top marketeers who I'm going to introduce in a moment. My name's Naomi Jones. I've been at the trade desk now for about 2 years, looking after a couple of our large-scale key advertising partners. And before that, I was around 10 years at Meta, or Facebook as it will always be to me. And then before that, a ton of different media owners, etc. But I've always looked after some of the world's leading marketeers and advertisers, and have always been just fascinated and really interested in solving their marketing challenges and finding the best marketing and advertising solutions. So it's a privilege today to talk to Rob from PepsiCo. He's been at PepsiCo for around 7 years now. He's been in marketing for about 15. He is award-winning. He's had multiple media accolades. So we are really, truly privileged to have him here talking to us today. He has also worked on the startup side of our world and in marketing consulting. He's led brand partnerships with the likes of LeBron James, Nike and Burger King, to name but a few. And recently, he had the Flaming Hot launch, which we're going to hear a lot about today, which won UK Product of the Year, and also Extra Flaming Hot, the brand innovation of 2024 by Marketing Week. So, Rob is now head of marketing portfolio campaigns, loving life in London for the last couple of years with his family. 4 kids, would you believe it, that he's juggling as well. So before we dive into the power of portfolio marketing, to kick us off, Rob, tell us a bit about your background, your personal and professional journey, and what brought you to this fantastic new role.
Sure. Great to be here. My name is Rob Pothier. Been in marketing and brand management 15 years. PepsiCo 7 years. Before that, marketing consulting and startup marketing. I've been with PepsiCo 7 years. Started in Dallas, Texas, which is where our snacks business is, Frito-Lay. Then our beverages, sodas and waters are in New York. And then we have Gatorade and Quaker in Chicago. And what brought us here, to be completely honest, I wondered what level of honesty I was going to be with this group. We turned it up to 100%. The night of the 24th of September, 2022, my wife and I got a little drunk and turned to each other and said, if we could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? And we both said London. And that night we made a toast and we said, no matter what, we're going to do it. And 3 months from that day, we were here. And it's just been a dream come true. We've loved everything about it. I joined PepsiCo UK, where I first started on the Doritos brand, and I'm now leading our portfolio campaigns team, which basically means any multi-brand campaign. So from Christmas to football, anything where it's more than one brand's brought together, our team builds those campaigns.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rob. So let's get into it. It's obviously, as we all know, as marketeers and senior leaders in this business, it's a massive time of transformation in both marketing, media and tech. So let's get into it, Rob. What's your approach to innovation and constantly thinking about how you're going to drive the next layer of growth? Tell us a little bit about the Flaming Hot story, because I think that's going to be crucial to that story and how you've leveraged this across brands.
Flaming hot, here it comes. So one of the first campaigns that I was a part of when I joined the UK was the UK essentially asking the question, is the UK ready to bring the spice? In the United States, Flaming Hot, which started just as a flavor on Cheetos, has grown to be a literally multi-billion-dollar business across Doritos, Cheetos, our entire portfolio, even on Mountain Dew. I don't know if anyone here knows what Mountain Dew is. Bright green soda that we turned flaming hot. I mean, if that doesn't, it's become a huge global business. And so the question for the UK was, is the UK ready for a multi-brand spice platform? And so we launched a study, and that was step number 1, trying to understand UK spice tolerance versus the rest of Europe. And the main takeaway was, surprisingly, the UK had the second highest tolerance and love for spice. So, okay, we're ready. The second task was, given that it's multi-brand, we feel like the opportunity is huge. It's an underserved need. There are not enough brands or flavors in this territory. We need more than just one. So we picked out Doritos, Walker's Max, and What's It's Crunchy, each of which brought something that we felt was incremental to the offering. And then the final piece was how we think differently about how we're merchandising it together on shelf. So what's the story we're bringing to our customers about how this need was so underserved, about how we're delivering across multiple massive brands, and then we're going to support it. We're not going to launch and leave. We're going to take multiple waves of campaigns for multiple years to build out a platform over time. And so we launched it in the spring of last year. We've had 3, and now actually this week marks the 4th campaign that's launching behind Flamin' Hot. It's an investment that we're going to keep making over the coming years.
Fantastic. I love this. Who is a flaming hot fan here? I think it might be a little bit too spicy for me, but got some fans
Love to
here.
hear it.
So building on that, that's fascinating how you've instigated this new product in the UK. Tell us a bit about the role of brand partnerships and the collaborations we were speaking about and how that's driven success of Flamin' Hot.
So in our second campaigns, we launched it in the spring. Our second campaign was in the fall. Same products, no LTOs, no new innovation, but we needed to keep the products fresh and top of mind. And so we looked to brand partnerships. We started with the insight about spice, and that's that spice hits different. It just feels different. It's not just another flavor, it's a physical experience. And so the physical experience that we focused on was sweat. The insight about sweat, though, we launched a study in the UK, and it showed that 72% of Brits are embarrassed when they sweat, and when they sweat noticeably. So that, well, we kind of have a problem. We have a product that makes you sweat. How can we flip that on its head? How can we make sweat stylish? And so we partnered with Rankin, a fashion photographer, and Ashley Roberts of the Pussycat Dolls for a campaign we called Flamin' Hot Couture. What we did was we created a moment on the red carpet where Ashley Roberts had visible sweat stains. And this was all intentional. And we thought, well, all we need is a couple of outlets to pick it up, and then we can run with the story. It blew up. I think it was 120 outlets. Look at how embarrassing this is. She got on Good Morning Britain to talk about this sweat shaming. So we kind of had our story. And then about a week after that, we said, well, I've partnered with Flamin' Hot. And we, behind Truman Brewery, built a 30-foot billboard that actually sweat, that has her on it, owning her sweat and making sweat stylish. So it was a way that we took an insight that we knew was unique about spice, flipped it on its head, found partners that elevated the idea, and it's been an incredible experience.
Fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about the Temp Drop collab you did as well, please, Rob?
Oh, I love that you bring it up. So on our third campaign, see, just growing, baby. So our third campaign was in January. The insight was, it's the worst month of the year. Everyone just hates January. How do you heat things up? And build not just a product, but a brand around Flamin' Hot by pulling it outside of Doritos, Walker's Max, and What's It's Crunchy, and find brands who want to bring spice to a place they haven't been before. So we partnered with Ginsters on extra Flamin' Hot sausage rolls. We partnered with Upcircle on spicy lip balm, and we partnered with Dolicious for spicy gelato. And so they were just totally, we put them on TikTok Shop. We had a big giveaway of the products. We think what it helped do for Flamin' Hot, for our brands, is say, what we're trying to build is not just Doritos. We're trying to build this sub-brand of Flamin' Hot. And that's an experience. It's a flavor that we can bring even outside of our category. And so I think it pushed us to think differently. One note on partnerships and collabs. They're so complicated. So you want to make sure you're partnering with a group that you're authentically elevating each brand. It makes sense. Consumers resonate with it. I think a lot of partnerships I've seen, it doesn't feel like there's a natural connecting point. It feels like I had to pay you a ton of money to give me something. I think with each of these brands, they were such a pleasure to work with. It was so fun. I got so much more pickup than we expected because we took the brand and the experience and applied it into another place that was just as relevant and resonated with consumers.
Fantastic. And can you tell us a little bit more about how the consumers reacted and what the results were? I mean, I'm guessing you've sold more snacks as a result, but I don't know how much you can share in terms of the growth the campaign has driven, the growth the initiative has created, and that sort of general halo effect across all of the products.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Flamin' Hot was PepsiCo's biggest innovation of 2024 by a long shot. It was a massive success. The way that our customers got behind the product, the compelling story, and the fact that one of the things we did with the products themselves was make sure that they all felt and looked similar to each other. So one of the ways that we would normally think about LTOs in our world is that if you have a new Doritos flavor, it sits with Doritos. You have a new Walker's flavor, it sits with Walker's. The pitch to our customers is we want to create, because there really isn't one in the UK, spicy snacking destination. So wherever possible, merchandising those three together in one place. Doritos, Walker's Max, and What's It's Crunchy to say, when I have that craving, when I say I want to pick me up in the afternoon, or I want something in the evening, that experience, that spice, that explosion of flavor, I know where to go. It's those purple packs. And I think that way of thinking differently about how it showed up in store, how we executed it, helped change the breadth and the depth, I think, of the overall proposition. And then these brand partnerships, I think, just helped elevate it and remind people it's not just a Doritos flavor. It's not just another flavor extension. It's bigger than that. And this is the process that we're still on today. We have a partnership launching this week. The product hit stores this week. Take a look for it if you can, your local retailers. Our Netflix partnership with Squid Game. So we just launched this campaign. The assets are launching next week, 20-second, 30-second TVC, where we are building a campaign that we call Enjoy the Pain, which is all about that sweat. It's all about that, I have a physical reaction. We'll partner with a group that creates a bit of danger and a bit of risk. And so it's, again, pushing the brand into new spaces, unexpected places that elevate both partners.
Love this. It's brilliant. We're all going to be going out and buying some of your products afterwards, I can tell.
Please do.
For the afternoon pick-me-up.
Many
after
of
the event.
them.
So it's a beautiful segue into this whole idea of the power of multi-brand marketing versus PepsiCo marketing singular brands. Can you talk a little bit more about how that's you're really going to amplify this innovation moving forward, and tell us a little bit about the seasonal moments as well, because I think that really ties nicely into to the approach here.
I mean, take Flamin' Hot as an example. The opportunity was spice. We feel like as an entire salty snacking category, there's not enough in this space. The opportunity was too big for one brand. Thought it can't just be a Doritos play. We know this is bigger than that. And we tested it, and it worked. And I think what that told us in the UK, and what many PepsiCo markets around the world are discovering, is that when we bring brands together, they can deliver on moments, on events, and on seasons that are bigger than just one brand. So let me give you an example of the three types of things that our team works on. Number one, massive partnerships. Take Netflix. That's bigger than just Doritos. It's bigger than just Walker's Max. How do we bring multiple brands together to get the most out of that partnership? Number two is events. And I'll refer to football here. UCL. Next year, we've announced our partnership with FIFA and the World Cup. This is way bigger than just Walker's. This is a portfolio opportunity. So how do we think portfolio first, brand second? And the third one is seasons. And this is a good example of where I think, have noticed we can do better. In the past, take Christmas. We would have Walker's, Doritos, Popworks, different brands in our portfolio doing completely different things at Christmas. And our customers turn to us and say, we're doing one thing in November and December, and you either fit with that or you don't. And so we need to just take a step back and say, how do we have a joined up, cohesive approach to Christmas? Because that's what our consumers care about. They don't care about our brand's third pillar coming out in Q4. Christmas is what's happening. It's where we need to be most relevant. And so when we lean into seasons moving forward, PepsiCo is trying to think consumer first, season first. How do we show up best as a portfolio at Easter, in summer, around Halloween, around Christmas? Because that's what our consumers care about, and we need to pick the right brands, the right moments with the right partners to get the most out of those moments.
And how have the retailers responded? It chimes in with what they want in terms of a more cohesive approach from the suppliers, right?
Exactly. I mean, if you compare salty snacking versus sweet snacking in the US, at each of these seasonal moments, it's fairly similar to the rest of the year. So the breakdown between sweet and salty at Christmas is kind of similar to summer. In the UK, salty snacks drop pretty significantly. Sweet ramps up, and they have won in terms of making sure they're relevant, offering the right products in the right place in store. And PepsiCo is saying we're not just fighting for our brands, we're fighting for the category. We're trying to grow the relevance of salty snacks at these major seasonal moments. And the size of prize isn't just for our brands, it's for the category. If we can do what other markets in the world have done in the PepsiCo universe of building the relevance of salty snacks, our customers are going to get on board. Because it doesn't just halo to our brands, it halos to the entire segment. And so we're trying to say, hey, look, the story behind Christmas isn't just PepsiCo brands. The story at Christmas is making sure that people feel like they've got everything they need during the holiday season. They've got the sweet snacks, but they've also got the lighter, more informal snacks. They have both sides of the equation. We feel like there's a category opportunity here that's much bigger than our brands. And so if we can go tell our retailers that, we can back it up with the numbers and the case studies of other markets in the world, the US being a good one, that have done this effectively, we can create a win-win both for our brands and our portfolio and the customers, because that's what they're totally focused on, are those seasons. And if we can show up with multiple brands, they win and we win.
Brilliant. Love the win-win moments. You spoke a little bit about the challenge of brand partnerships and collabs. Can you share any more challenges that you've had along this journey with Flamin' Hot and the portfolio marketing play?
That's a good question. Let's take the campaign that's launching right now. Flamin' Hot is partnering with Squid Game. So their new series is coming out pretty soon. We have products that just hit shelves this week behind Doritos and Walker's Max. But the idea of the product, we're calling Doritos Flamin' Hot or Not. The idea is that only 1 in 4 chips in the bag is Flamin' Hot, and the other 3 are a core flavor. So for Doritos, it's 75% of the bags are Chili Heat Wave, 25% are Flamin' Hot. For Walker's Max, 75% are Sticky Barbecue, 25% are Flamin' Hot. Why are we doing that? We're doing it, I think one reason, people want to try spicy products, but the biggest pack size for us is sharing, which is a bigger bag size. And a lot of people say, well, I don't know if I can go that far. I would want to try it, but I'm not going to buy an entire bag. I know what I like. This product offers them a way to essentially trial Flamin' Hot alongside their favorite product. So number one, it offers us a way to, in a weird way, offer a small bag size of Flamin' Hot, still in a big bag. But number two, we got to gamify it. So the challenge with Squid Game was, well, how do we authentically bring these brands together, turn it into a game that we could understandably not only just launch an LTO that just hit shelves this week, but also 20 and 30-second asset that will be coming out next week that brings those two worlds together. And so we feel like the challenge was, how do we help get more people into the Flamin' Hot pool? How do we drive penetration on the product? We had instantly, or on our first year, won with a lot of spicy lovers. We now need to win with spicy curious, people who are interested. And the way to do that is to offer a product that allows them to, 75% of the product is something you know and love, 25% is something new, get them into the pool, and then hopefully drive up the penetration on the platform overall.
Fantastic innovation. The innovation keeps coming. So, starting to wrap up a little bit, Rob, thank you so much for sharing this journey. It really is fascinating to see how PepsiCo has gone from that singular brand marketing into this portfolio and seasonal marketing world. We've got a room full of senior marketers here. What are the sort of top 3 pieces of advice that you would offer everyone in the room as they seek new strategies and pathways to innovation, to growth for their brands and businesses? And perhaps there are people in the room who might want to think about this portfolio marketing approach.
3 things. Thankfully, I was given a heads up. This question was coming, so I had to really bring it. 3 things come to mind. I mean, number 1, you have to stand out. We were in a call with our media team 2 weeks ago, and our agency shared a statistic with us that floored me, and that's that they tested all of the ads in their database over a number of years against a 30-second asset of cows in a field. 50% of assets were less interesting than the cows in the field. And so you realize goal number 1 is stand out. If you can't stand out, you are invisible. The second thing, I think, to get you there, you have to take risks. You have to do things that are unexpected and that are worrisome. Years ago, okay, thank you, PepsiCo, for letting me do this. But years ago on Doritos, we had a challenge where we needed to drive our Dippers product, which is now called Dipper Load, essentially lightly flavored or lightly salted, intended for dipping. Well, we had this crazy idea that on National Guacamole Day, we were going to go to Cheddar Gorge and set the world record for the biggest cheese pull, which means when you grab a chip with cheese on a plate of nachos, how long can that string of cheese go? Well, we brought in a Doritos helicopter and had over 50 feet of a cheese pull. Crazy, outrageous. We had tried the attempt multiple times and it failed. And we had about 2 more attempts with the helicopter. I remember thinking, this could be it on my career. This could be, but it blew up. 2 billion earned impressions, breaking news on CNN. It was ridiculous. Could have not worked out, but it did. I think in order to stand out, you got to take massive risks. And when you get the good risks, when those pay off, the other risks that don't, people forget those quickly. The final piece that I would say is logic is dangerous. Be really careful of a brief or creative concept that feels logical. If it all naturally flows, I've got a clean insight, and I've got a clean strategy, and I've got a clean concept, something's wrong. Because it means 2 things. And that means, number 1, it's not ownable. Someone else is going to do it. And it means, number 2, it's not going to stand out. So at some point, you've got to take a creative leap. Okay, we're about sweat. We got to flip that on its head. How about fashion? That's a leap. That's a risk. That's a jump. That's not a natural next step. And I feel like that's critical. To stand out, to take risks, you got to be careful. Logic is dangerous, and at some point, you've got to make a leap that will feel irrational. But if it resonates and if it excites people, then it's worth it.
Wow, I hope you're all as inspired as I am to think about how you can all take risks on your brands. And I love that. Yeah, logic. Be careful of logic and take that creative leap. I don't think we would have walked in today thinking that there was a link between PepsiCo brands and fashion. And now we know how it was done. So thank you very much, Rob, for your insights and your expertise that you've shared with the audience. Have we got time for a couple of questions from the audience?
Q&A, guys. Let's open up to the floor. Yes.
Hello, I'm Claire Billings. I'm a female leadership coach and a marketing consultant. The question I had as soon as you almost started talking was, and you kind of answered it towards the end, but you were talking about research and the data and everything when you're launching a new product. When you are making one of these big, bold moves, I mean, some of this stuff is absolutely incredible. How much of it do you rely on the data, and how much of it is that kind of, I've just got a feeling? And this is a question I ask all the time as a marketer, so I'd love to know how you do it personally.
I love that question. I personally, I feel like gut is data. In a weird way, I think gut is experience, and experience is data. I think that you even if you feel a connection, though, even if you feel like this irrational leap I've taken from sweat to fashion, there's something there. Number 1, I would say trust that feeling. But number 2, you've then got to go sell that. And we're a business where we have to sell it to everyone. We have to sell it internally. We have to sell it to, as a multi-brand portfolio campaign leader, I have to go sell it to the brand teams and say, we're going to do this thing. You all want to be a part of it. And then we have to sell it to our customers. Hey, this is why this is going to make sense for you. And I can't go into those and try and bowl them over with passion. We've got to have some hard data. And so no matter what, I think it starts with, what do we have at our fingertips? What research do we need to go collect? All of that is critically important, but that's not going to get us all the way to where we need to go. We've got to bring them on a journey to get to that final idea. And so I think it's a combination of both.
It's an amazing answer. And it feels to me like you've got to really believe in it as well.
Amen.
And
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Andy from Ignis. Building on both kind of the idea of logic being the enemy and the need to sell internally, as companies get more and more risk averse, how do we get the buy-in internally for something where logic is usually required at every step of the internal sell process?
Oof. That's a great question. It's interesting. I think that, how do I put this? There needs to be senior leader internal buy-in. I think the first thing that I'd say is the approach that I just described won't work everywhere. I think that you have to have a community of people who believe in the approach, believe in the marketing science behind the importance of standing out, differentiation, distinction, creative risk-taking, and I think that takes a lot of work. Now, fortunately, I think the amount of research, the amount of insight in the marketing world in the last 10 years has just exploded. And I think that whether it's leaning on how brands grow or it's leaning on major marketing thinkers, we've leveraged their expertise and their research to try to sell it in. But that being said, if you still have senior leaders who say, I don't buy it. I need it to be black and white. It needs to be crystal clear. I think you're only going to get so far. I think you need bravery. I think you need courage. I think you need the willingness to take a shot at something. I think the beauty with a company like PepsiCo is we have enough brands where if we were a one brand company, it's going to be hard to sell that in. Whereas if you have a portfolio, you can say, okay, we're going to try this over here. And this, if it works, we're going to use that to build towards here. And over time, work up towards a Doritos or a Walker's or a massive, massive brand. There's more risk aversion, but if you've proven it on other brands in the portfolio, you've proven it with research, you can get to that place. But at the end of the day, it's still going to take some bravery. It's going to take some courage. It's going to take people willing to say, let's give it a shot.
Is the converse of that then your job as the head of marketing to show to your teams that if you take a risk and it doesn't work, it's not a jeopardy of your career? That
Absolutely, I completely agree. I mean, we've tried things here that didn't quite work, and just move on to the next thing. And it's tough in the moment, but you tell your team, all right, we're going to keep swinging. You know, if you swing and miss, it doesn't mean you stop. You just keep going. And I think creating a culture to exactly that point, I love that. Creating a culture where you can, you don't have to celebrate wins or celebrate losses, but if you can accept them, embrace them, and take another risk, that's a cultural element that I think is critical to that type of marketing.
Yeah, actually, just building on that, because I'm Philip from Bayer. Actually, my office is opposite yours, so
Real
maybe
close.
I can have breakfast or lunch with you next time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on building on what has been said, I think for me now interesting is how you at PepsiCo look at technology and AI, because I think we all as an industry are, we got hooked on the technology over the last couple of years, and we got hooked on data and all of that stuff, which I think limits our creativity. So what you have said, how you approach, things at PepsiCo, what is PepsiCo's philosophy, how you utilize AI and tech to, let's say, fuel creativity, but not be dependent on the technology to replace creativity in a way, if you know what I mean. Because I think, in our industry, in healthcare, we are data mad, right? And we are almost over reliant now on the technology. And I actually have a bit of a fear that that these magic moments are getting a bit lost, right? Because we just over rely on the logic rather than the magic. So just wondering what you guys at PepsiCo do about it.
Oh, I think it's such a great question. Two things I have to say in advance. Number one, I don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about AI. So I'm gonna throw out kind of my reactions, but I'm no expert. And the second thing, these are my views. PepsiCo, I'm not speaking on behalf of the company.
Caveat.
Corporate affairs in my ear. Love them. I think what I would say is that it's a tool to leverage. I think we use it all the time in PepsiCo. I think it's unbelievably powerful. But connected to the conversation we had earlier, in a funny way, it's like the master logician. It's the master logic machine. It's helping you distill thousands of articles into something that makes total and complete sense. But to your point, that only gets you so far. It takes that jump and that leap. And I think that AI can reference those tremendous campaigns and try to pull out themes. Hey, you know what? Across these can winners over the last 5 years in out-of-home design, here are some consistent things they did. But everyone who punches that prompt into AI gets a similar response. And so you need to do something unexpected, something that won't be spit out of that machine. You need to do something that's going to be, in a weird way, an input to the future. And I think that takes that illogical leap. It takes that creative bravery. But it can help you get to a moment, and it help you get to a place of clarity before you take the leap. But I think at the end of the day, it's smart, passionate people in a room together trying to figure out where we go from here. And I'm not sure that AI is going to be able to effectively replace that.
Okay, now our last question.
Hi, I'm Lily from Mars. How do you consistently go beyond just great brand partnerships, which achieve really successful reach, and turn that into something which has a really long-term impact on core brand penetration? What's the strategy?
That's a great question. I think a critical one, whether it's brand partnerships or not. I mean, I think a question within that is, how do you ensure that every campaign builds on itself? If you are partnering because there's an opportunity. And we've had those happen before in the past. I've been on brands where PepsiCo has a partnership and says, hey, how can we get the most out of this? And we do our best to bring it together. I mean, one of the opportunities or one of the examples of that is I worked on Ruffles in the US, which is the Ridge potato chip. So it's Walker's Max here. Ruffles was in a situation 7 years ago where they said, well, we have this partnership with the NBA in basketball, and we haven't done much with it. We are looking for a brand who's willing to raise its hand. Well, Ruffles had very limited media investment, didn't even really have a strong brand positioning. So in a funny way, it was in a place where we said, well, we can design what this brand now means. We went all in on basketball over 7 years and made sure that while we were open to partnerships, it was all going to be in the world of basketball. It was all going to be in the world of, the phrase that we had was owning your ridges, owning the edges. And so we partnered with a number of players, LeBron James, Jason Tatum of the Celtics, but everything was around that. I think for Flaming Hot, everything's around our insight, which is spice leads to sweat. It leads to a physical reaction. So whether it's Ginsters, whether it's Delicious, whether it's Squid Game, whether it's Ashley Roberts, no matter who it is, every bit of that brand journey connects back to that core insight. So making sure that the brand partners don't overwhelm that, don't distract from it, but add to a narrative that takes years and years to build.
Excellent.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, just to wrap up, I mean, I think key message I'm taking away is just surprising and delighting your consumers, putting the consumers first, putting these insights first. And I think that's a great wrap up of not relying on those other brand partnerships. You're actually creating something within PepsiCo, which is amazing, and something that's tenable and will last for years. But thank you very much, Rob.
Thank you.
We could probably talk for hours longer, but thank you so much. Big round of applause.